Welcome back. Action-packed Friday show here from the Showboat in Atlantic City. And when you're in the Garden State, we talked a little earlier with James Toto, Republican from Atlantic County here running for freeholder, and Mike Suleiman, and we were talking about Jeff Van Drew, the one brave Democrat, and the one Republican who ran against him, Seth Grossman, joins us right here. Seth, thanks for joining us for a liquid lunch.
Yeah, thank you.
You were in a highly contested Republican primary, and this was a Republican seat. And
well, actually, it was a moderate Republican seat, and the Republican establishment picked a moderate candidate. I was a pro-Trump conservative candidate. I was not the favorite of the establishment, so I knocked off the favorite without the endorsement of a single county organization. So I was sort of surprised everybody. And then what happened is the Democrats did some research on every Facebook post I did for the past 10 years and found some stuff which out of context made me look like a right-wing extremist when I was really a common sense Trump conservative. And the Republican leadership disowned me, did not give me a nickel in funding, would not even let me have access to the voter base, the database, and when the votes were counted, I did better than almost any other Republican running for Congress in a similar situation, being outspent $10, $11 to 1. So after that, Jeff Van Drew goes in there and he realized how conservative or how pro-Trump this district was, and when he had to vote to impeach or not impeach, he knew he was finished as a Democrat if he voted if he didn't vote to impeach, but he also knew that he would never have a chance of getting reelected if he did impeach. So in a way, I think I helped persuade Jeff Van Drew to become a Republican.
So let me ask you this, somewhere in there, I mean, I know, in the heat of the battle, it's rough and tumble, you kind of figure out a way to coercing yourself to hate the other guy, but somewhere
in Jeff Van Drew.
I'm saying somewhere in there, were you proud of him that he actually stood on his principles, or do you think it was a completely political decision?
No, it was almost like a Civil War situation of brother against brother, because this is a small town. We all know each other. My dad was a dentist. Jeff Van Drew is a dentist. I've known him for 20 years. In fact, the year I ran against him was the only year I didn't show up at his family barbecue. So it was that type of situation.
They disinvited you from the family barbecue?
I didn't go to start. I almost think if I would have showed up, he would have welcomed me, even though. But it was that kind of situation.
Seth, I want to ask you a little bit about what's happening, what you're doing with Liberty and Prosperity, because I think it's fascinating and really a model for grassroots activism around the country. But I do have to ask you, I've been a lifelong political independent. 30 years ago, you were elected to the city council here in Atlantic City as an independent, something that's pretty rare. How did you pull that off, getting elected as an independent?
Well, I was a conservative getting elected citywide in a liberal town, a Republican, and was a Republican getting elected in a Democrat town, a white guy getting elected in a mostly black town. But this is personalities, this is principles, and really the labels don't matter much here. And that's why I think I did so well in the first place. But to go back to what the key issue now is, I'm holding, they say what happens to America happens to Atlantic City first. And what's going on right now is one of the main opponents to Jeff Van Drew on the Democrat side is a Montclair College professor who symbolizes everything that's screwing up our young people today. She talks about social justice. Her name is Bridget Harrison. She wrote the textbook called American Democracy Now, which not only cost $113, and she comes out with a new edition every year. So I got this on eBay for $30, but she makes the students get a new one. She lives in a $1.5 million house in Longport, has a $163,000 salary, puts her students into debt by saying it's the capitalist system that's ruining America. And this book really teaches every one of her students to hate America, to hate Donald Trump, and she actually has a special chapter to hate Rush Limbaugh on here, which I thought was disgraceful.
The poor guy, he just got diagnosed with cancer, and she's trying to hate him on top of it. In our final minute here, I know
So here she shows in the guy's 30-year career, she picks on the one incident with the Sandra Fluke, on the birth control issue, which really takes the guy's life and puts it completely out of context. But that's the only version the students get.
In our last minute here, I just want to ask you about libertyandprosperity.com. What is the initiative about, and what are we trying to accomplish?
Well, we're the non-political group that teaches how important it is to be political, and we teach the basic principles that America was founded on these ideas of individual liberty. This textbook is basically teaching kids that the purpose of government is to decide what you want in life and then get the government to give it to you. As opposed to the way America was founded, government's supposed to be the referee. You're supposed to be free to make all the good choices and bad choices in your life, benefit from the good ones, have the consequences of the bad ones. That's what made America, and basically we're doing the job that our public schools and colleges once did, but are now doing the opposite. And it's libertyandprosperity.com if anyone wants to learn more about us or
you want to learn about real American history and all the stuff that the campuses across America are taking away from future generations. Go to libertyandprosperity.com. Seth Grossman, I want to thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And here's a guy who ran against Jeff Van Drew, the one brave Democrat who voted against impeaching our president, and even he says he was proud of the guy. So keep that in mind.
Absolutely.
When his opponent says good things about him, it should tell you something. There's probably a reason why the president came down here to Wildwood and talked to and brought Jeff Van Drew on stage, and everyone went wild. So we're going to take a quick break. We're not leaving AC for a while. Coming up right after this, AC Mike Lopez, local legend, will be here, and Dave Damiani and his great song will be on the show, and all that and more right after this.